Welcome to Bigfoot Michigan Rob and beyond.
Good evening, or good morning, wherever in the world you may be tuning in. This is Art Bell broadcasting once again from the edge of midnight, where the strange becomes possible and the impossible becomes routine. This weekend, I had the privilege, and I do mean privilege, of meeting a man named Rob. But the world knows him as Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And he brings us a channel with a fitting title, Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Beyond. Rob is someone who has seen things most will not believe, and heard stories that refuse to die. When you hear the word Bigfoot, you might think you know where this conversation is headed. A large creature in the woods. Footprints in the mud, a shadow slipping behind a tree. But let me assure you, that is merely the front door to a much larger, much darker house. Behind that door lies the stalking terror of the dogman. Encounters so violent, so primal, that even seasoned hunters refuse to speak of them in daylight. Behind that door lie spirits that roam abandoned farmhouses, apparitions that appear in children's bedrooms, demons that whisper ancient names through static and silence. Behind that door is the paranormal, the unexplained, the forbidden knowledge that humanity has always sensed but rarely confronts. Rob does not shy away. He goes directly into the storm interviewing witnesses, collecting encounters, pulling back the veil that separates our world from the next. So as you listen, whether you're driving down a lonely road or lying awake in a room suddenly feels a bit too cold, know this: you are not alone. The night is full of mysteries, and some of them have been waiting a very long time to be heard. This is Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Beyond, and tonight we step through the veil.
Hello, one and all. Hello. Yes, it's Friday, 7 o'clock in the evening. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Mine was great. Well, it started very miserably as my Detroit Lions suffered an excruciating loss, dampening our playoff possibilities. Yeah, that's right. So good old BMR was up and he was down all day yesterday. And really quickly, Gary Spikes just brought me up. 5 new Bigfoot Michigan Rob Pirates mateys. Thank you, Gary Spikes. Love you, brother. Thank you. So yeah, my Thanksgiving was it was great. Don't get me wrong. But I'm a big sports fan. I'm a Lions fan, really. That's my team. And yeah, so we got 5 weeks left in the season. Hopefully things will change. I don't know. It is what it is. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, you guys. This is kind of a different show tonight. And it's really different in the sense that I'm introducing something that I'm going out of my comfort zone a little bit with this. Whoa, geez, Keith. 5 more pirates. Arr, mateys. Keith from Michigan. Thank you so much. Well, before I get on, I might as well just let everybody know, yes, you can become a BMR pirate. Arr, mateys. Join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. You get a good old picture of BMR in the chat room, sporting a bandana. Yes, you do. Thanks to Keith. And also the super chat's open, a great way to help support what we do around here. So yeah, I had to get that out of the way as you guys are sending your love and support. I love you all, whether you donate or not. It doesn't matter. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. So yeah, so going back to what I was talking about, something a little different for me. It's a Friday night. I don't do Fridays. I'm on, as y'all know, Tuesday nights interview shows, Thursday brunch with Rob, BMR Monica, and then Saturday nights the Late Show. So okay, I started in this in 2018, right? With everything with my encounter. And since then, it's been a progression, right, of my journey and my journey. And throughout all this time, I've compiled all this information. And during that time period, I've learned a lot of things. I've grown as a person, and I've also I'm expanding my boundaries. As you know, I've written 2 books, Bigfoot Michigan Rob Presents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. Both books are true cryptid encounters from folks that send me in emails over the years that I compile and put together to tell their stories. And putting that series to rest for a couple years because I started this journey the end of book 2, where I decided to put together a book. Now I'm going to tell you right now, this book that I'm putting out, which is going to be out Christmas of 2027. I've put a lot of research into this. I've done a lot, interviewed many people, mostly from the shows, and learned things. And I said, for my 3rd book, yeah, okay, you guys, it's going to be a fictional piece. I do say that loosely because I think this book has a lot of, how should I say, I think this is a reality that probably happened or is going on in today's society throughout the years, right? So yes, and as I always tell you, if you've been following me for a long time, there's truths to folklore. So I've been since the end of last year, I've been exploring and researching the folklore and werewolves, the fae, bloodlines, all these curses in Michigan, and I really love the werewolf dogman saga. So when I decided to make my 3rd book, I just kind of wanted to expound on my creative abilities and the things I've learned through research and otherwise to put out a 3rd book, a different book for me. I'm gonna hit that market, right? Fiction based on truths. And again, being transparent as I always am, don't take this as truth because I'm not saying it is, because I made up a lot of this. I'm going to introduce you to characters in the book. And what this is over the next year, because the book's out for a year. So what I'm going to do is drop teasers from the book in a show format for YouTube until until I publish it and put it out. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let's see if you guys like it, because I would like your feedback. I would like your feedback on this. And that's where I wanted to start the show, with just letting you know it's not an email I got from somebody. It's not something that I heard in the grapevine. It's a combination of my imagination, but also something that I've been researching really intently. So I fashioned this book. It's going to be 1,000 pages, you guys. It's going to be not a book. It's going to be a novel. It's going to be a novel. I've gotten 350 pages completed. And the purpose for tonight's show, I'm not reading from the book. I'm going to give you a narration of part 1, which is going to encompass some history. I'm going to introduce the characters tonight and take it from there. So yeah, what it is for you guys, just sit back and unwind. Just go into that land between time and space. And so thank you to everybody for coming on in. Michelle Wilfong, Diane Boss, Gary Spike Sr., thank you, Mickey, John, hello, John, happy Thanksgiving, Andres, scrolling upwards, Lil Patty, Keith, of course, I caught Keith, thanks for the awesome donations, Henry, God, there's a lot of you in here already. Same people are chatting though. Hello, Randy. You like my art belt thing I did, Randy? Let me know. I'm going to talk to you later about that. Who else? Jason Finch, the Finchster. Same people chatting. So if I miss you, hey, you're not talking. Kitty cat. Good to see you. Duke, good old Duke. Hey, Duke, what's happening, buddy? Who else? Well, that's all I can see chatting. There's 42 of you in here. But yeah, so thank you for coming on in. Again, I hope that your holiday, your Thanksgiving was fantastic. So again, refer to the description below about what this is all about. And I'm going to get on with this. It's going to probably take a while to get through all this because I'm only going to do maybe one of these every 2 or 3 months, kind of like how they just dropped. What was that? Stranger Things, right? I love Stranger Things, and the last episode that came out was like 2 years ago or longer. So I had to cram all those in before the new season. This is kind of going to be like that. So I'm going to get on with this and introduce this book. Is BMR'S Werewolf Chronicles, fiction based on reality. I think this probably could have occurred somewhere. I'm going to introduce everything for you. And the tagline for the book is going to be cursed by blood, hunted by shadow, haunted by time. Thank you, Amy Creel. Amy Creel, the first mate of the chat room. Thanks for your awesome super chat. I love ya. Ahoy, pirates, Amy says. Thank you. Cursed by blood, hunted by shadow, haunted by time. And a quick overview of this is for centuries, the Wyrick bloodline is born the mark of the Linares curse. Okay. It's an ancient spell cast by a betrayed Fey Queen. Okay. After a betrayal in the Dark Ages. Every firstborn male in the Wyrick family carries the beast within. Cursed. Hey, Joe, thank you, buddy. $5 from Joe. Every firstborn male in the Wyrick family carries the beast within, cursed to shift under the blood moon, and hunted by both mortal and otherworldly forces, sworn to end the bloodline forever. But in 2025, Elias Wyrick, the last surviving heir, discovers that the curse was not born of punishment alone. It was part of a much darker prophecy involving a merging of realms, the mortal world, and the realm of shadows. The only way to end it is to embrace it. And I'll introduce you to some of the main characters that I've drummed up for this. Elias Wyrick, the reluctant heir to the curse, a drifter haunted by visions surviving on the edge of civilization while hunted by those who know what he is. Maeve Corin, a mysterious historian and witch with ties to the Fae. She claims to have found a way to unbind the curse, and her motives are blurred between compassion and prophecy. The Hollow King, ruler of the Fae's Shadow Court. His spirit was bound to the Wyrick bloodline and vengeance. He speaks through reflections, dreams, and wolves that stalk Elias's path. The Order of St. Kael, a secret brotherhood of hunters dating back to the Crusades, tasked with wiping out cursed bloodlines. They see Elias as the final link in a demonic chain. And finally, Daria Wyrick, an ancestor, a matriarch who first consorted with the Fae. Her soul, fragmented across generations, whispers to Elias's dreams, part guide and part ghost. Now, when I get on with this now for you guys, is reading that for you as part of this. I remember in writing this book, I'm when I did this, my idea was like I do on True Cryptid Encounters. When I talk to people, I fashioned this where the person I'm interviewing this person. So when I say, "Hey, Rob, this and that went on," this is how I'm writing the book, as though I was there interviewing this person. So again, this is something new I'm trying. Well, I'm writing the book. It'll be out in 2027, but I'm introducing it to you guys. Let's get on, shall we? Thanks everybody for coming on in. Hit that like button, something different. Sit back, go make yourself a turkey sandwich with some mayo or some Duke's mayonnaise, whatever you like. BMR. Every curse begins with a choice, and this one began with blood. This is the Werewolf Chronicles, BMR. So, in starting this, they say that every curse begins with a choice, and this one began with blood. And it goes on as the story is unfolding to me, right? I didn't believe in family curses, not really, until I met a man named Elias Wyrick. He didn't come to me looking for help. He came because he was running from something older than time, older than any church, older than man himself. When he spoke, his voice trembled, but not from fear. It was from exhaustion. He said, "It's not the full moon that hunts me anymore. It's my name." The name Wyrick traces back nearly 800 years. The first of them was a Darien Wyrick, a knight of the 13th century, a warlord, a crusader. He led his men deep into the forests of what we now call northern France, a place that is known, a place back then, you guys, that was known as Serre Noctis, or the Night Fortress. And what he found there was not of this world. Villagers had whispered of lights in the forest, people who vanished for days and returned changed. But Darien didn't come to investigate, he came to conquer. He burned their homes, slaughtered their kin, and took their relics, all under the banner of the church. What he didn't know was that these people weren't people at all. They were Fae, the hidden folk. And among them was their queen, Sorcha of the Hollow Court. Beautiful, terrible, and ageless. She watched her kin die in the flames of man's ambition. And when she found Darien Wyrick, she did not kill him. She cursed him. That was the sentence. His blood, and every drop born of it, would carry the beast. Not as punishment, but as a reminder that what you destroy, you must become. The Wyrick men were never the same after that. Their tempers grew wild. Their sons were born with strange marks, crescent shapes along their spine. Livestock were torn apart on moonless nights, and when the church learned of it, they called it hearsay. So they sent their hunters, the Order of St. Kael, to wipe out the cursed bloodlines. But no matter how many Wyricks they burned, or buried, or chained, the curse survived. Passed from father to son, shadow to shadow, until it reached one man, Elias. He told me the curse was changing, that the moon didn't call him anymore. Something else did, something from beneath the roots of the world. He said the Fae were steering again. They were stirring. And that the Hollow King, Sorcha's last consort, was whispering through his dreams. When I asked Elias why he chose to tell me, he looked me dead in the eye and said, "Because you're the only one who will believe it before it happens again." So here I am telling you his story. The story of the Wyrick bloodline. The story of a man who turned to beasts and beasts who learned to hide among men. And if you think this is just another legend, remember this. Some bloodlines never die. They just wait for the right moon. The Fae and the Hollow Courts, okay? Before we can understand the curse, we have to understand the ones who created it. Most people think of the Fae as tiny things with wings and candles. Playful, innocent, pretty creatures. But the truth is older, it's darker, and far less comforting. The Fae were here long before we walked upright. Before kingdoms, before steel, before fire, they were the architects of the natural world, shaping forests, rivers, storms, and shadows. And among them were two great powers. The luminous court, children of creation, balance and growth. They guided the cycles of the seasons, the birth of the forests, the tide of animal migrations. They spoke in dreams, in symbols, in whispers, carried by rain. Then came their counterparts, the hollow courts. Not evil, but born of sorrow, of vengeance, of the places where light cannot reach. Where the luminous court nurtured life, the hollow court guarded secrets and fed on the resonance of human emotion, fear, longing, and regret. It was the hollow court that daring Wyrick trespassed against. It was their queen, Sorcha, who watched her kin burn in his crusade. And it was her curse that bound the Wyrick bloodline to something both human and not. But there was something else, something far more dangerous. The Hollow King, Sorcha's consort. A ruler not of the land, but of reflection. The places between places where time folds and memory twists. Few had ever seen him in the daylight. Those who did claimed he had no face. Only a shifting mask of eyes like dying stars. When the curse was made, legends say the Hollow King poured part of himself into the bloodline, binding his essence to human flesh, not to destroy everybody, but to survive. Okay? For the Hollow King was dying, and Darian Wyrick had destroyed the only thing that anchored him to this world. The Hollow Court fractured after that. Some wanted vengeance against all mankind, others wanted peace. Still others fled into the deep realms. The last untouched forests where the veil between worlds thins like worn cloth. And as centuries passed, humanity forgot them, but they never forgot. Elias Wyrick told me that the Fae have been steering, they've been returning, they've been watching. At first, I did not understand what he meant, but then he described the dreams. The dreams where he stood in two places at once, a forest of pale trees and a field of bones. Dreams where wolves with human eyes circled him, and a voice, not his own, whispered through his skull like a blade drawn across a stone. The Hollow King was still bound, still waiting, still hungry. The curse wasn't just a punishment, it was a seal, it was a lock, a tether between worlds. And every Wyrick heir born after Darien was a living piece of that lock. But seals crack, locks rust, and blood thins. And when Elias looked at me, exhausted, trembling, pupils wide like an animal cornered, he said something I'll never forget. He said, "They're waking up, Rob. All of them. And I think they want me back." This is the beginning. It's the return of the Fae, the unraveling of the Wyrick curse, and the rise of an ancient king lost to shadow. When Elias looked, oh, excuse me, he goes, okay, let's see here. This is the beginning. This is the return of the Fae. The Wyrick curse didn't spread on its own. It was fed. It was strengthened and eventually worshipped. After Darien Wyrick was cursed, he fled Serenactus with the last of his men. They didn't speak of what happened in the forest, not because they were loyal, but because most of them couldn't remember anything after Sorcha looked into their eyes. For weeks, Darien raved about moonlit trees that whispered, voices in his blood, and a shadow king who followed through the mirrors. His soldiers thought he was mad, but then the first transformation came. On a night with no moon, no light, no sound, no warning, Darien's bones snapped like wet branches. His teeth elongated, his eyes burned gold. When it was over, 3 of his soldiers were dead, 2 were missing, and the ones still alive swore the thing that killed them wore Darien's face. That was not the first werewolf. That was the first werewolf, but not the last. You see that Darien's sons inherited the curse, and their sons after them. But the transformations were unpredictable, they were uncontrolled, leaving ruined villages and mutilated bodies in their wake. So the family turned to something desperate, something forbidden. They turned to blood magic. Hidden in the ruins of an old Fey shrine, Darien's eldest son, Alistair Wyrick. Yeah, I kind of threw that in there. That name, Alistair. Found a journal written in a language. It was written in a language between symbols and dreams. Inside were rituals, descriptions of controlled shifting, ways to channel the beast without losing one's mind. The family called these rites the blood pact. Alistair carved crescent marks into his arms and mixed his own blood with herbs older than Christianity. He burned sigils in his skin. He chanted words not meant for mortal tongues. And for the first time in Wyrick history, a man shifted into a beast and he remained conscious, but not human, never human. He became something in between, a shapeshifter, a guardian, a creature who could harness the curse rather than be devoured by it. But every spell has a cost, and this one drew attention. The church's shadow order, the Order of St. Kael, had been hunting the Wyricks for decades. But when they learned the family had begun using the curse, not just suffering from it, the church considered it an abomination, the union of demon blood and hearsay. Thus began the centuries-long war, Wyrick against order, beast against blade, shadow against salvation. The order branded the Wyricks of lupus divination, or wolf demons. They tracked their bloodline across continents, burning records, erasing evidence, and slaughtering anyone who bore the crescent mark. The Wyricks scattered, hiding in forests, mountains, and isolated villages. Some gave up the old rituals, others embraced them fully, and a rare few went further than blood magic. They reached out to the hollow cord itself. A forgotten branch of the family attempted to merge with the Fae essence inside them, to become something beyond human, beyond wolf. A creature capable of standing against both hunters and the Hollow King. But something went wrong. Their bodies twisted beyond recognition, their minds broke, and they became the first Nightborn. Creatures neither Fae nor wolf nor human, but the hollow remnants of a ritual gone wrong. They were killed. Some escaped, and a few vanished into the deep realms, waiting for the bloodline to weaken so they could reemerge when the world was unprepared. When I spoke with Elias Wyrick, he said there were things hunting him, and not all of them were from this world. He described shadows with legs too long to be human, figures with empty chests, things that move like wolves but scream like children. Creatures born from those early failed rituals, the Nightborn. Still bound to the Wyrick bloodline and drawn to Elias like moths to a dying flame. The blood pact saved the family, but it also damned them. Because the ritual that first granted Wyrick control also loosened the seal that held the Hollow King at bay. Every transformation weakened it, every shapeshift cracked it. And now in the year 2025, the seal is nearly gone. Something said something in his last conversation, something that sits and stirs within me, right? He said, the curse isn't killing me, it's calling me home. For those of you guys just joining me, this is, of course, my third book that I'm coming out in next Christmas. And like I said earlier, read the description below. This is a piece of fiction that I've kind of researched the fae, the werewolves, the folklore. So I've pieced it together as something that I think possibly could occur. It's not like books 1 and 2. It's something totally different. I'm going a different direction for this. If you're new coming on in. So yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. Thanks for everybody for coming on in. I love you guys. I'm going to move on with the fourth stanza in this for you guys. And this is The Shadows in the Modern Age. And we'll take it from here. Most curses feel like stories lost to time, but this one followed a man into the modern world, and the world wasn't ready for him. Elias Wyrick didn't live in some forgotten castle or deep in a moss-covered European forest. When I met him, he was standing alone at a rundown gas station off Highway 49 in Wisconsin, a plastic coffee cup in one hand, a backpack slung over his shoulder, eyes hollow like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't look cursed. He looked like someone on the edge of collapse, someone who had walked too far, far too long, trying to escape something that kept pace no matter how fast he moved. But there was something else when he turned his head. Just for a moment, his shadow did not turn with him. He told me he'd been drifting from place to place, national forests, back roads, cheap motels. He avoided cities, too many people, too many mirrors, too many chances for the one thing inside him to wake up. But the curse wasn't dormant, not anymore. Strange things were happening around him, things that caught the attentions of people like me and people far more dangerous. The first sign was the animals. Elias said it started with animals behaving wrong. Deer would freeze when he approached, not out of fear, but like they recognized him. Coyotes would circle his campsite, not daring to come closer, but refusing to leave. One morning in northern Michigan, he woke to find a ring of dead rabbits around his tent, each one laid carefully, almost ritualistically. Their bodies were unbroken, their eyes open and staring toward the woods. No tracks, no signs of a struggle, just a message. He said they weren't killed by an animal, they were delivered. The Order of St. Kale didn't die off centuries ago. They adopted, they modernized. Today, they operate under a dozen different names: private security groups, historical preservation societies, even humanitarian organizations. Their symbols are subtle now: a small cross tucked into a uniform, a stylized wolf's head insignia on a badge, a faint burn mark on the wrist, and they were closing in on Elias. He showed a photo of it on his phone. A man in a black coat standing at the edge of a campground, taken at dawn. The man wasn't looking at the camera, he was looking at Elias. Elias whispered they'd been following him ever since Idaho. One of them spoke his ancestor's name. Not his name, but his ancestor's name. They weren't hunting Elias. They were hunting Elias's bloodline. And then the final stage of this, the night porn, this was the part that is most chilling. Elias had been seeing things at night, not wolves, not animals, not men, something in between. The first one appeared outside an abandoned barn in Minnesota. He described it as a shadow with joints in the wrong places, long limbs, no eyes, a mouth that didn't open but stretched. It crawled out of the tree line, stopped at the edge of the clearing, and just stared without eyes, without breath, without fear. Elias said he felt it pulling at him, like it knew him, like it had been waiting centuries to smell his blood. Then the Nightborn, the failed remnants of ancient blood-packed rituals drawn to him, their anchor, their kin, their key. When Elias finally agreed to speak with me, he was at his limit. He hadn't transformed fully in months, but his senses were heightened, his dreams were violent, and the Hollow King's whispers were louder than ever. He said the voice was no longer trapped in the background, it was speaking directly to him, giving him instructions, warnings, and prophecies. The seal is thinning, the veil is thinning, the voice told him. And Elias believed it because each night he woke up farther from civilization, sometimes miles from where he fell asleep. Not sleepwalking, not shifting, but something else. Something in him was pulling him toward a place he'd never been, but his blood remembered. He looked at me and finished with this hollow, haunted expression. He said, "The past is catching up to me, and the future is catching up faster." This isn't the climax, it's the fuse that chased Elias through today's modern world. It's now heading toward one place, and that's the forest. And there's a purpose. And then, of course, there's the Hollow King, the ancient ruler from long ago, bound to the Wyrick curse. He's also waking up. So that's part one. Again, the book is coming out next year. I just wanted to give you a little teaser into it, you guys. Just give me your thoughts because it's a fiction book, But all the things I've learned and researched, I kind of want to do something different than do just a true cryptid encounter thing. I know most of you like the true stuff, but I'm expanding my boundaries, you guys. I want to do other things. I want to do other writings. I like the true stuff. I think that this little story that I'm putting together, I think there could be some credence to it. I really do. And so I'm taking a little risk with this. I'm going out on a limb. I'm into so many different things as 2026 approaches. More writings. I like to get into script writing for movies and things. So I'm trying to expand my knowledge base. And I've got a lot of knowledge of all the people I've interviewed and all the things I've read and just the people that I know. So I'm trying something different. Whether you like that or not, that's cool. I just wanted to put it out there to the public to get a taste. If you think that maybe I should continue with the book, I got 350 pages written. What I gave you, I just narrated bits and pieces for part one. So it's something that, I put some time and I started this last year. So I hope you kind of like that. It's just something I wanted to do. It's Friday. Yeah, I know you guys got a belly full of turkey. You're probably having turkey sandwiches. So let me know in the comments. I just want to try that something different for good old BMR. Thanks to Amy Creel. People came. Thanks to everybody for coming up. Thanks to Gary. 5 new pirates. Keith from 1675 Michigan. 5 new pirates. Amy Creel for your awesome super chat, and Joe for your super chat. Hit that like button, you guys, and let me know what you think. Hi, Manco. Manco says book sounds fine so far. Blah blah blah. BMR sounds awesome. That's Diane. Interesting sounding book. BMR. There's from Andrew. BMR going Hollywood. Yeah, okay, Keith. I don't know about all that. The half-inch wrench crew says they like it. Little Patty says she likes it. He says awesome. So thanks for that. I mean, just be honest. Leave me a comment what you think. I want to try that for you. Tell that little tale that I spun up. But again, there's research put into this, and who knows if this has even happened, right? I do believe in this. I believe folklore is the element to truth. Folklore started somewhere, right? There's truths and there's elements to folklore. Certainly over time it's expanded, we get that. But that's why we're all here, right? We have open minds. We're into the what if. I'm always going to be into the what if. I embrace the weird. And, when you talk to so many people for so long, your mind expands. And my mind certainly expanded since 2018. I will tell you that. Hopefully yours has as well. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for coming on in. Hit that like button on your way out. And what'd you think about the Art Bell clone for the beginning of the show? Give me your thoughts on that too. Truth Seeker Finder made that for me. He does some work for me. He's a great guy. So yeah, or the unknown. But yeah, you guys, thanks for coming in. I didn't want to take all of your Friday up. I know you're all got things to do. You got the day off. So thank you for that. Like, share, and subscribe. Bigfoot Michigan Rob if you're new. And before that, I'm just gonna look for the end button here to get out of here. Thanks for spending a little bit of your weekend with me. Lions lost, bummer, but hey, life goes on. I am BMR. Saturday night, join me and the girls for another late night into the bazaar. That should be a great show. I don't know which girls will be joining me, but I'll certainly be there, and probably Monica for sure. So thank you, one and all. I am Bigfoot Michigan Rob. You guys have a great and wonderful rest of your weekend. I'm out.